Sam the magician found out about a new trick he never knew was possible. All he had wanted to do was make them smile. He never would have thought it would have ended up like this. To start with, all he had to do was place his left hand in his pocket and point with his right. If only Sharon hadn't distracted him right at the critical moment when he was about to pull it out. Everyone who lived in the village knew Sharon was a cunt. Being a magician, Sam knew just what to do. He grabbed a megaphone and shouted, "Sharon, you cunt!" Bob looked over his shoulder in shock, as he'd just pumped Sharon the night before. Excuse me. Bob was also a magician, so he placed his right hand in his pocket and pointed with his left. The village held a dark secret that none of the residents wanted anyone to know about. The secret was, deep inside, everyone was a cunt. But none as bad as the self-proclaimed appointed Grand Master of the village, a legendary cunt. The villagers didn't know his name, so they just called him Zokyo. Meanwhile, in the local church, Pastor Jonathan Hanshoe III was explaining to his flock that the village of Cuntingshire provided its villagers with magical powers, some for good, some for evil, but in some rare cases it would develop into a resident self-destructing if they were ever to try to use their powers. This all came about during the Great Granny Apple shortage of 1478, when the powers were bestowed upon them. The day Sam received his apple, there was severe flooding, and the apple was oddly coloured, deformed, and tasted of beef. As a result, he had refrained from using his powers until that fateful day. Betty did wonder where Sam got that megaphone from, as he had been known to have a fear of megaphones. Suddenly, there was a loud knock at the door. Sam opened the door, and all he could see was a black silhouette in front of him. It spoke to Sam with a deep, haggled voice. "Is that you, Enzo?" he uttered with fear. The man let out a cough and muttered, "Aye." Enzo was the town drunk, and was completely harmless, as no one really understood why Sam feared him, but nonetheless, the two men stood there staring each other down. Sam, in a thankful tone, said, "Thank Christ for that. I'm glad it is you, Enzo. I thought Zokyo had found me. I thought I was in right trouble. What the bloody hell did you do? Oh no, what the bloody hell do you want, sorry?" "Nothing, you dumb cunt," Zokyo replied to Sam. "I just brought in his whiskey so we could get hammered." What has that cunt Zokyo done to you, by the way?" "Nothing much," Sam said. "He just recently started dating my mom. But he's not my dad, no matter how much he pretends." "What a cunt," Enzo replied. "So you fancy a drink?" Sam slapped the bottle out of his hand, and it smashed on the floor. Enzo looked on in horror as the whiskey ran down the drain, and to make matters worse, Sharon and Betty just came through the door. Enzo's horror quickly turned to dismay the moment Sharon started to speak. "Enzo, why are you wearing the sacred hat of the Buddhist shoemakers?" "Shut the fuck up, you little bitch. Don't you just see this fucking cunt right here just dropped some fine whiskey on the floor?" Taken aback, she glanced between him and the golden liquid. Wait a minute. Taken aback, she glanced between him and the golden liquid swirling down the drain. In fear for his life, Sam pulled out a granny apple from his pocket. With all his might, he screamed, "For Scotland!" And then, all of a sudden, he passed out. Candy to all the children, then gave them all chronic diarrhea, which clogged the sewers, causing an infestation of glowing fish with furry fins.